it's 8:55, so it's go time for us, which means we are officially starting our prayer revolution for today. Whatever, I have no idea what day it is. It's April 1st. April 1st. April Fools, everybody. This whole coronavirus was just a big joke. Go back to work. It wasn't real. And so it's big fool's joke. And that's today. Guys, I'm starting to get delusional. All right, we're here.
You got this, DG. You got this, buddy. We're in this together, Bubba. I got you.
We made it to April. Somebody told me that January seemed like it was, January took, seemed like 3 months. February seemed like 10 minutes, and March seemed like 100 years. And so we made it through March. It's been to April. We've been doing this for steadily 2 weeks. Every morning we've been waking up, saying a collective prayer for not necessarily that our circumstances will change, but that we can change the way we approach our circumstances. Mm-hmm. And Vera's been leading us with a soft and soothing voice. And then following that, we have a conversation about how to bring the mood of prayer into our daily life. And so I turn over to you, Vera, and have you just kind of bring us into a different space, a different consciousness.
Super grateful, DG. Grateful to be with you. I love your enthusiasm for greeting. You're the king of hospitality. Anybody that's ever been to Doyle's home knows he is the king of hospitality. So super grateful to be with you, bro, and super grateful to be with everybody that's tuning in today. Just to take a few moments to start our days with prayer, or to tune in. Some of us wake up so early. I know 5 a.m.ers that are getting on Wisdom of the Sages. And so just another opportunity for us to dive into prayer. And prayer it's a universal language. It doesn't take a cell phone. It doesn't take a laptop. It doesn't take a loud voice. It doesn't take any external form of communication. It's an internal form of communication. And it's an opportunity for us at any moment of our life to tune into a higher power, to have a conversation with that higher power, and to feel that connection. As we soften into our experience of prayer and inner dialogue, we start to have this deep connection and this profound experience, this awakening of that eternal relationship. And so pause whatever you're doing right now and just let yourself be comfortable in your seat. You can fold your palms if that's comfortable for you as well. And just start to tap into your breath, into this present moment. Taking nice deep inhales and exhales, entering into the space of receiving, allowing yourself to receive this collective prayer. I'm praying that I'm an instrument today of a collective prayer for all of us. My dear Lord, so often in my life, I seek so many things. I seek so many things, and I place so much value on them. I believe that through my plans in life, that I'll experience fulfillment, that I'll experience happiness, that I'll experience everlasting joy. And then so often those very things that I'm seeking become the source of challenge, difficulty, and even suffering. Help me to seek you today, my Lord. Help me to seek that relationship with you, that no matter what it is that's going on in my life, that I don't forget you. I don't forget that we're together in this. We're in this together every single moment. You experience the suffering that I experience. You experience the joys that I experience. You're my dearmost friend traveling with me on the path. And help me to keep my consciousness fixed on my relationship with you, and that dialogue, that living dialogue, that every single moment I have the opportunity to connect with you. And through that connection, all the treasures and all the gifts of life that I'm seeking, they start to manifest. Not that by fulfilling my own plans that I'll experience the treasures and the gifts, but by being connected to you through every circumstance, remembering that you're with me by my side, that friendship, that love, that connection, that's everything that I'm seeking in my life. So let those gifts spring forward today in our connection with you, our higher power, our beloved friend, our dear most beloved. please let us feel connected to you today. No matter what it is that we're going through in our life, no matter what it is that our friends, our family, society, the world around us, help us all to feel a little bit more connected to you in our own unique and individual ways. Help us to know that there's a loving friend, that the source of all existence, the controller of everything, is a loving, benefic friend that's arranging every circumstance for us to grow, for us to transform, for us to experience unconditional love, an experience of life that doesn't have conditions, experience of joy and happiness and fulfillment it's not bound by conditions. Let us all pray today that we can experience that a little bit more. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So beautiful, Vera. Thanks so much for
man.
bringing that. Bringing that consciousness into our world. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Grateful. What are you thinking about today, Bubba? What's on your mind? What's on your heart?
What's on my mind? What's on my heart? Well, I just want to welcome everybody here. Those who joined during our prayer, just joined after. We have some steady Zoom goers. So glad to see all your faces here. We have a live Zoom. We have some live on Instagram, and so there's a couple things on my mind. One thing was on my mind is that Vera and I had a really beautiful conversation last night. We were talking about this very podcast, this very show. We're just like, hey, we started this this live stream, this podcast, out of a response that the world had just shut down and people were seeking connection. Like people were responding. It's the first day of quarantine. We were like, I need connections, or let's just go online and just talk to each other and let people join in. So that's what we started doing, and then we started wondering, what's really our message? What's really our point? We had a really, really enlivening conversation about that. That I was really excited about, and it really, really lifted me up because yesterday was kind of a tough day for me. Yesterday was starting to get a little bit of a tough day where I was really starting to feel kind of the effects of isolation.
You're missing my hugs, Doyle. I know.
I was missing your hugs. I really was. I was having a withdrawal almost. I think of just okay, wow. I was I've literally just been in my apartment for 2 weeks, and I go outside to take my dog to pee, but even then it's not like a nice walk in the park. It's like we just go outside, does his stuff, and come back in, or I'll walk down to the store to get groceries. But even then it's like I walk in the store and it's like an Armageddon scene every time. It's like shelves are empty and people are just like nervous squirrels in a tree picking up berries, and so it's just kind of like a strange feeling every time we go. So I was just kind of feeling that. It was making me kind of sluggish and almost kind of feeling like going through it. And then we had this call last night to talk about our podcast, and I really wasn't even looking forward to it. I was like, I've got nothing to offer here. Vera, we want to talk. I don't know what I'm going to say. Vera, you take over. And then as soon as we just kind of started talking, it just brought me so much life and energy. Reminded me what we're doing and the excitement about it, and who we're talking to every day and who's tuning in, what we're sharing. It was very enlivening. It reminded me how I got a sweet message yesterday from one of our listeners, somebody who I keep in touch with regularly. We just kind of talk about spiritual life, and yesterday we're talking about Krishna being the sun and illusion being the darkness, and all we have to do is just turn towards that sun. And so it's like, imagine I'm in a dark room and I have to ask myself, where are the windows? Where are the windows of my life where I let light in? And so she reached out to me. She just said, hey, I'm just open up one of the windows and trying to have some light pour in. Maybe can we talk sometime this week? And I'd love to connect. I was like, it was such a sweet, sweet message. And made me think it's so sincere. Hey, I'm just trying to open up a window and get some light in my life. You have anything to share? And I felt like that's what we did last night. And that's what you do to me. That's what you do to me every day, Vera.
I'm looking through the window right now.
We're looking through the window right now. And we're just letting a little light shine into our life, And so that's just what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like it's getting dark sometimes, or getting lonely, or getting a little one of our Zoomers that it kind of set in for me yesterday. It was like, yeah, it's like missing people are so many, I've missed the physical association of kirtan, miss the physical association of just being around people, I think it's just the kind of, it's just setting in a little bit like, oh, but then, getting through it and
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
doing it, thank God for
Yeah.
Zoom.
Like, for Zoom. Yeah, I'm appreciating it so much, DG. I mean, just the realness, the
Yeah.
vulnerability, and it's, so often I feel like, whatever's going on in my life, if I am going through a difficulty or a challenge, I'm like stuck in a certain like feeling, like I'm stuck in a certain feeling and it's not moving. Then generally, we're in a community where we come around those lights, and it's like you're walking through the hallway and then all of a sudden, it's like Ida comes, rolling down, or, Julie comes up and gives you a hug, or,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Zoe, she's jumping up and down in kirtan, or, it's just like we see that light around us all the time, being in community. And it's like, it's like, what is nighttime, where, where one soul may be experiencing, a little, it's like evening for one soul, and like feeling a little of that darkness, or some of those heavier feelings. Or another person's going to be experiencing sunshine and experiencing grace and having, these empowering perspectives. And so it's like the power of association and the power of community. It's like that collective, there's always going to be dark and there's always going to be light. That's just the material world. There's always going to be dualities. And until we've come to a place of complete surrender, that I'm not seeking anything other than the light, and I'm fully allowing the light to come into every experience of my life, which is a very elevated spiritual consciousness.
Yeah.
Until we come to that, we are going to go through the cycles of night and day. We're going to go through those cycles. And when it's nighttime for me, those different times in my life when I'm feeling those darker feelings, and it's daytime for Doyle, or it's daytime for Julie or Laura, it's daytime for AJ, it's daytime for different people. And by being around them, then that light shines in, and it's such a crucial thing right now. And we're just isolated from that. We get these little windows, and it does so much for me personally. It does so much for me.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I saw this cartoon yesterday. It had a graph. It was a bar graph, and it said like level amount of things I accomplished like on a normal like work day, and it was like this big bar graph for here under normal circumstance, things I accomplished. And then it said the amount of things I accomplish under a lockdown when I'm at home by myself all day, and the bar graph like goes down to like way down here, because we think it'd be like, oh, I've got all this time on my hands, and like now I can finally do all the things I'm meant to be doing. But sometimes it's like, if that energy isn't there, it's not just time that we need. We need inspiration, we need motivation, we need purpose, and we need association and connection to really drive us to do those things. Like, what is the purpose for me doing all those things? And so I just like, can we all just take that pressure off ourselves right now? Just like raise your hand, just like, it's I'm not meant to, this is not necessarily the time where I kick my life into gear. And like, it's like, what are you doing today? And it's like, oh, I got all this time, and blah, 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 I did this. I did 5 yoga classes, and I read 3 books, and I did all this stuff. It's like, that's great. Good for you. You know what I mean? You did that today, but maybe you don't do that tomorrow. You know what I mean? And so I feel like it's very easy to further isolate ourselves if we start piling on the guilt that I'm not as productive as I should be. Maybe the only thing I need to do is to hold myself until this is all over, that just might be it, you know what I mean? And prevent myself from just going into, you know what I mean? Just like maintain stability. Like we are going on, you know what I mean? It's like sometimes like, it's like those submarines, they go underneath and they go underneath an iceberg, like a submarine takes like a few weeks to get underneath an iceberg. So I could like just go down, like just don't get too wild. We're going underneath this here, and then we're going to submerge at the end of it, So for some of us, this may be a time where we really step up our game and really dive into our spiritual practice. It's a great time for reading. It's a great time for meditation. It's a great time for at-home yoga. It's a great time for this, that, and the other. And that's great. And for some of us, it just may be a time like, wow, this is not my natural environment. I am not in my element right now. I am a socializer. Or I'm not even feel like I'm a socializer, but yeah, like somebody just said, just hold it down mentally, physically, spiritually. I think that's such a beautiful thing, because like, it's like, what did you do today? And it's like, I feel like I have to have some answer of stuff that I did. What did I accomplish? What did I check off the board? And it's like, what if I just held it down? I just held it together. That's amazing, because that takes effort. I'm taking speaking of not going, taking all these new tasks and learning things, I am actually learning bass guitar, which sometimes you can see. I have a bass guitar behind me. You can see it there. And I'm taking online lessons, and I'm learning how to read sheet music. And sometimes in sheet music, there's a space for rest, meaning that there's no sound, and that means that you hold the chords so that no sound comes out. And the teacher was saying she doesn't like in English we call it rest, but in other language, in Spanish, other language, it's just called silence, because silence doesn't mean rest, because you're actively holding the strings to make sure that no sound is coming out. Like, to make no sound come out actually takes effort. You're paying attention, you're holding the strings, and so it's just silence. And so I think sometimes us holding it together and keeping ourselves from like falling over the edge takes effort. It takes effort to create, sometimes to hold silence in the mind, to hold silence in the heart. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just holding it together. We're holding it together. All I did was hold it down today. That's good enough. Yes, Yoga Like Mike, I agree. Sometimes it isn't about thriving, it's about surviving. And that's okay. That's work. Yes, exactly. We talk about don't just survive, thrive. Well, sometimes surviving is good enough just for today. Just for today, I'm going to survive. You did it. We're doing it, Vera. We're surviving.
Just giving a moment of silence. A moment of pause.
We did it, we're doing it. We're still in the game.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. And it's such a, I love the analogy of backpacking. I love the idea of tension. I love the idea that, I was at the kitchen sink today and I was like, okay, yeah, like, I'm definitely feeling that the desire to get some things done for the Bhakti Center. I definitely feel that,
Yeah.
And that also like, like, okay, that feeling like that is like, if I don't, then what does that mean? It's like, it's like, just like, okay, like it's okay to strive. It's okay to be where we're at. Like there's a certain tension that's there. And it's like, what does it mean if I don't do something? Like what meaning am I placing on that? Am I now a failure? Am I now, extending guilt and extending shame and judgment toward myself? Like none of that serving. That's all just like, that's all another aspect of the ego, just trying to come in and disconnect us from ourselves spiritually and disconnect ourselves from our higher power. And so I was just sitting at the kitchen sink and I was like, okay, wow, like I really want to get some stuff done. And then it was just like, yeah, okay, like it may not be possible, and it's like, so what does that mean? And it's like, oh, it's all good, like it's like
Govinda, excuse me.
If it doesn't happen, that's in God's hands. That's not in my hands, and it's like, wow, okay, let me just be okay with that. And I was just thinking about like, if it's right now, it's a beautiful sunshiny day and I'm definitely planning on going on the rooftop today. I haven't been outside in like, I don't know how long, but haven't been outside on the streets of New York. It's like zombie land out there. I'm not going out there going to get sneezed on or something like that,
I just sneeze. It's just the dust allergy.
But going on the roof today, and it's like it's like, okay, it's a sunny day and it was gloomy for the last few days. Like whatever it is, whatever our experience is, like to pause and to invite our higher power into that experience with us,
Yeah.
But that experience isn't bad. That experience isn't, there's nothing wrong with it. It becomes really difficult and really challenging when we forget that we're walking with God. That's when it becomes like this real despair starts to come up, and this fear starts to come up, and this real stuck feeling starts to come up. And so I was at the kitchen sink today and just like, yeah, I just feel it, like feel it. Like you have the desire to really do something today. And it's like, you may be feeling stifled in that a little bit, like may not be the day for that. It may not be possible. And then just the ability to soften into that feeling, not make it wrong, not beat myself up about it. If I don't accomplish a ton today, like this feeling of like doing to be, that's
Yeah.
okay, So I'm kind of rambling a little bit right now, but really just
No.
that point of just like being with the feeling, honoring that
Mm,
as part of God's plan for us.
yeah.
And if I'm able to just accept that feeling, then I can invite God back into my life, invite him back into my consciousness. And then it's like,
Yes.
man, you know what? Actually, I don't really feel that bad anymore. I don't really feel,
Totally.
I don't feel that
Yeah.
pressure anymore.
It's national. Yes, with many S's. Doing anything is special with some consciousness and intention, and I think that's very much it. It's kind of like, you know, this. It's almost kind of like why. Like, why do I feel like I got to do so much? Why do I feel
Mm.
like I got to accomplish so much? Why? Like, and just like, why? Why do I
Mm-hmm.
feel guilty if I didn't do 2 yoga workouts and clean the house and make a blog post and post something on social media and read 2 books and make an art sculpture? Like, why do I feel like I need to do all of those things?
And a bass
And I
guitar.
was
Did you don't forget your bass lessons?
and my bass guitar, and play bass guitar and learn Hindi and all these things. Like, why? Like, what defined? Who is defining productivity?
Mm.
Who's defining productivity around here? Oh, that was a productive day. I did something. What did you do today? I was productive today. Who's defining that productivity? You know what I
Mm.
mean? Is it my mind? Is it social media, culture? You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, what? Then it's like, okay, I choose a different culture. I
Mm.
want a different culture in my life
Mm.
because I want a culture that values a different type of productivity. And
Mm.
so, there's 2 verses in the Bhagavad Gita I was just looking at reading. One is just to this very point. It's the very beginning of the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, verse 5, where Krishna says, everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities they have acquired from the modes of material nature. No one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So Krishna's acknowledging we're active. The soul is active at every moment. So it's not like you're never
Mhm.
not doing something. Even when you're sleeping, it's like, what the most restful part of sleep is? Most restful part of sleep is when we're in REM sleep. That's
Mm.
when your body gets the most rest. And REM stands for rapid eye movement. So that means, like, if you ever notice someone sleeping and like you can see their eyes are moving, and so it's
Mm.
like that's when our body's getting the most rest, is when our eyes are just moving all over the place with a closed eyelid. It's like we're never not actually moving and engaged. And Srila
Mhm.
Prabhupada in the purport, he mentions it is not a question of embodied life, but it's the nature of the soul to be always active. So we're always
Mhm.
active. Without the presence of the spirit soul, the body cannot move. The body is only a dead vehicle to be worked by the spirit soul, which is always active and cannot stop even for a moment. Okay, so can't stop, won't stop. Soul's always moving. But as such, the spirit soul has to be engaged in the good work of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it will be engaged in occupations dictated by the illusory energies. And so
Mhm.
therefore it's I'm always going to be engaged in something. I'm always, even if I'm just sitting here. So based off of that, so I read that. So we're always engaged. And if we're not engaged in spiritual consciousness, we're going to be engaged in material consciousness. So that verse led me into, this is one of the first verses that we read at the very beginning of when we started this podcast. It's one of my favorite verses. I read this often when I teach a yoga class. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 24. If you're not following along, it's okay. I'll just read it. It's a very short verse and short purport. But Krishna says, this is 2 chapters later, one whose happiness is within, who is active, he's mentioning this word active, and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. Such a person is liberated in the Supreme and ultimately attains the Supreme. And Prabhupada's purport is so beautiful. Unless one is able to relish happiness from within, how can one retire from the external engagements meant for deriving superficial happiness? A
Mhm.
liberated person enjoys happiness by factual experience.
Mhm.
They can therefore sit silently at any place and enjoy the activities of life from within. Such a liberated person no longer desires external material happiness. This state is called Brahmabhuta, attaining which one is sure of going back to Godhead, back to home. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, as you were even saying, it's like, who's defining the productivity?
Mm-hmm.
Is my productivity defined by, my Trello board or my Scrum board or my list of my to-do list? Or is my productivity, how much was I able to bring present consciousness and devotion into the smallest of activities of my life?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so
Yeah.
it's just like, it's like eating, just for example. It's like eating. It's like I have to be reading something or watching something when I eat, because otherwise it's just wasted time. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I'm eating. I gotta be reading some article, I gotta be watching the news, I gotta be doing something, listening to a podcast while I'm eating. Great, okay, all
Mm-hmm.
good stuff. But what if I was just eating and just meditating on the miracle of life right now?
Mm-hmm.
This
Mm-hmm.
food was born from the earth, which was a
Mm-hmm.
gift from the rains, which is a cycle, a system placed in part by a benevolent Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And that my body is digesting this food, the miracle of life. How is this taking place? Being grateful for that and just kind of reconnecting with earth, with nature, with God through the simple act of eating.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Beautiful.
that's that's productive. I
Yeah.
think that's productive. I think that's a
It's,
productive day. What do you think?
I'm with you, Baba. And it's, I was just reading today, a teacher, Burijan Prabhu, an amazing teacher, wonderful, wonderful soul. That's very, very deep meditator on the sacred names of the divine, and was reading in a book that it's called Japa, and it's
Yes.
key. It's he's laying out keys for bringing a certain type of consciousness into our meditation practice that really
Mm.
allows for us to absorb what you're sharing right now, DG. Is that
Mm-hmm.
is that everything I'm looking for is in that union. Everything that I'm looking for is in that state of consciousness. Whether I'm folding the laundry, whether I'm having a conversation with my kid, I'm bouncing my kid to sleep, or I'm on a Zoom
Mm.
call, or I'm on a Instagram live with my friends, or whatever is taking place in our life, whatever is going on. Like, for me to actually strengthen that belief and that conviction that through my connection with the divine, that's where I'm actually going to experience fulfillment. That's where I'm actually going to experience happiness. And it takes what I was reading, where I got it actually right here. I'm gonna pop it open for you guys. So we're generally not aware that the things we strive for in this world, either subtly or grossly, are contrary to our true purpose.
Mm.
And they actually cause us misery. What we
Mm.
really need is our one true wealth, love for God.
Mm.
It's like, okay, there's so many things that are going on. There's so many things that are necessities in my life, but if they're the end in themselves, if that activity or doing that thing, accomplishing that goal, learning him, whatever it is, if that is the goal in itself, it's a treasure that right when we reach it, it's just that carrot. Okay, what's next? Okay,
Mm.
what's next? It never actually leads us to fulfillment. Whereas if in all of the things that we're doing, if the goal of it is connection to the divine, an
Totally.
offering to the divine, a
Yes.
consciousness is, this is for you, my Lord. I'm learning Hindi. So next time I'm in India, I could serve our pilgrims that much more thoughtfully.
Yes.
I'm learning bass guitar so I can strum and I can meditate on the beautiful sounds that you are the origin of. Like, we can take it and we can tweak our consciousness to bring the divine into every experience. And
Mm.
that's our true wealth. That's the
Yeah.
goal. That's what we're looking for. And that's what's actually going to satisfy the soul.
Yeah. Beautiful. I'm learning bass guitar because I want to play in Tuesday night kirtan whenever we get going again.
I had a feeling.
So many beautiful comments are just pouring in here on Instagram. Our good friend Damodar said that it's not right now. It's more about qualitative engagement than quantitative engagement.
Mm.
Like that's like a beautiful meditation for the time that we're in right now. Somebody else just posted that our society forces us to feel we have to stay busy. Even when we go on vacation, we plan all these activities and have an itinerary. They say that sometimes people come back from vacations more tired than when they started. Because it's like, I got to see all this stuff. I got to post all these things. And it's like, I'm on vacation. I'm supposed to be unplugging, but I got to make sure that everybody sees, sees what I'm doing, et cetera. And so we tire ourselves out even on vacation, because we go on vacation. It's like, okay, this is my 1 week to relax. I better make the most of it. You know what I mean? And we stress ourselves up, And then our good friend Zoe was saying something beautiful about how it's okay to be uninspired or lethargic, or a little despondent at times. Yes, that is okay. That's how the Bhagavad Gita begins. Arjuna, the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is called the Yoga of Despair. And so she said that we don't have to feel that this is a time where we need to achieve so much. And I was thinking that, yes, it's like, you know, I just came up with this right now, that the greatest things in life are not something that we need to achieve, but rather something we need to receive. You can hashtag that, copyright it, put it on your Instagram. Make sure you tag me, Doyal Yoga. Make sure you quote me on that one. Doyal Yoga or doyal@bhakticenter.org. The greatest things in life are not things we need to achieve, but rather receive. And so how am I, maybe I don't need to check off a to-do list, but how am I putting myself in a place where I'm going to receive the things I'm looking to give?
I'm pretty sure St. Francis touched on that maybe 1,000 years ago or so.
I just stole it from him. I just stole it from him.
Yeah, it's beautiful, Baba. Yeah, it's not okay. Yeah, let me receive. I have such an opportunity right now. Let me invite the divine into my life right now.
Totally, yeah.
Let's lean back in our seats. Let's lean back in our chairs. Let's lean back in our life right now. Let me receive some your grace in my life right now. Switch
from receiver to Samuel L. Jackson said something like that to me. Oh my God, I've been saying Samuel Jackson. And then I said, and then I was saying Samuel. No, it was Samuel Douglas. And then somebody literally wrote me a message after the podcast and said, "I'm really sorry. It wasn't Samuel Douglas. It was Samuel Johnson."
It was Catherine Zeta-Jones. You got this, DG. You got this. We're.
Somebody said, "Can we just put unknown after every quote? Can we just put unknown? Every quote is just an unknown author." And so, but it's so interesting that people say ready to receive. So does ready to receive just mean I put my arms out and say I'm ready to receive? And maybe I need to work towards being ready to receive. Maybe I'm not ready to receive. Maybe I say I'm ready to receive, but am I ready to receive? Am I that surrendered enough that when God places something in my hand, I'm going to recognize it? Am I, maybe I'm receiving right now, but I'm ready to receive. Well, I've already given it to you. Oh, you don't see it? Where is it? Oh, it's right in front of you. I sent this person into your life, but I'm not taking advantage of it. So will I even recognize what's being placed in front of me as God's gift? Do I have the eyes to see it? Is my heart open enough to receive it? You know what I mean? Sometimes we say, I'm not, people don't love me. Well, maybe people are loving you, but I'm not in a place to receive love. I don't recognize love when it shows up in my life. I confuse love with lust or with abuse or with this. Like I have a thwarted understanding to what it means to receive love from another person. And so Bryn wrote, yielding to God's gifts. It's a beautiful word. It's like to surrender. And so it's like, oh, okay. Let me pray to recognize God's gifts in my life when they show up. Because otherwise I just might miss them. I might walk by every day. I when I come home, although I don't go out much anymore, there's packages down by the mailbox. I look at every package, and my wife's always joking with me, like, "You expecting to receive a package? You order something?" I was like, "No, I didn't order anything." It's like, one of these packages might be for me. I don't know. I look at every package and I just see who it is. And so, because if we're not looking, the gifts of God may just, may just pass us by. So check the packages.
It's so beautiful.
And make sure that you're willing to recognize it when it comes. You know what I mean? There's that beautiful, what was it? Beautiful. Have you ever see the movie Little Mermaid? I saw the movie when I was a little kid. She's a mermaid, and she has all these things from the land sink down into the sea, and then she's got like a fork, or she's got like a brush, or she doesn't know what to do with it, and she's like, all these things that she's obsessed with the land world. And she's like, it's a fork. And then the seagull says, this is a thingamajig, and you're meant to brush your hair with it. It's like, no, it's a fork you're meant to eat. But because she sees all these things, she has no idea what they're meant for. She doesn't know how to use them properly. So God is sending all these gifts into our life. But because we're stuck in material, we're stuck in the water, the ocean of material existence. We don't know what it's like to step onto the land of spiritual consciousness. We don't know how to use the gifts of this world properly. So, my dear Lord, please help me recognize the gifts in your life. I want to stop brushing my hair with a fork, and I want to start using them in your service. Hey, Kara's here. So glad to see you, Kara. Haven't heard from you in a while. Hope you're well.
Kara, you're the greatest gift in our life. You just came in. We're
talking about gifts. Kara stepped in.
We're gonna post
exit right now. She doesn't like being spoken about.
We're gonna post Doyle's address, and we're all gonna send him packages. We're all gonna send him little packages. And something you know that I'm appreciating so much is that Doyle is finding God in the Little Mermaid. Doyle is finding life.
He's there.
God,
he's there.
And the essence of surrender to divine will of our beloved Lord in Little Mermaid. Bro, I'm just giving you a round of applause.
It's so spiritually conscious. So spiritually conscious.
You are incredible. You're incredible.
The Little Mermaid.
That's it, man. That's it. I love it. So let's look for it today. Let's all look for it. Let's go on a treasure hunt. I love it. Our friend Catherine, she went to India, came back, and she said every
treasure hunt
is a treasure hunt. Every single day is a treasure hunt. Let me go through life with that lens on, with those goggles on, looking at the gifts of life in every single moment. Let's inspire each other. Let's all go searching for those treasures, and let's make sure we send Doyle tons and tons of gifts. I'm not gonna post it on IG, but if you guys reach out, DM me. I'll give you his address.
And
love you guys.
And final thought for those of you who's like, some of us are like, yay, treasure hunt, and some of us are like, I don't want to move today. It's okay. It's okay if you need to step out, sit on the bench today. That's all right, because we are on an eternal treasure hunt. And if you have to sit out today, you'll jump in tomorrow, or you'll jump in next week. I promise you. Lethargy does not last forever. Uninspiration does not last forever. If you're feeling a little tired today and you just need to sit on the sideline and watch, that's totally fine. We'll be here tomorrow. We'll remind you the treasure hunt is continuous. And so, but for those of us, I'm going on a treasure hunt today.
I'm going on a treasure hunt with you, Bubba.
And tomorrow we'll share what we found.
All right.
Okay.
Love you guys. Super
Love
grateful.
You guys so much. Appreciate it. Everyone's asking for my address now. You can ask Vera. Love you guys. Thank you. Julie Blondina saying, thank you, family. This has been awesome. Yes, it has been awesome. We love you guys so much. It's so beautiful for me. I just love the fact that you guys are just showing up every day and being here. You know what I mean? It's beautiful. I'm grateful. And we'll do this again. Let's do this again tomorrow.
We're going on a treasure hunt starting tomorrow, 8:55 a.m.
Let's do it tomorrow. All right, guys. Love you. Be in touch. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. Signing off. Haribol. Thanks, guys. Best part of my day too. Love this. I'm going to save this.